Hello Taurus, welcome. Well, at the moment the situation is a bit up in the air, in suspense. I'm not saying there's a definitive cut for everyone, but I am seeing that there are some situations here that require a break, require some distance, or require a period of separation. Later on, things can be restarted, but I'm seeing that some people need it. We need a break, we need to take some perspective, take a step back because a lot has been said here, a lot of promises have been broken many times. There's a lot of disappointment and sadness here due to heartbreak, waiting for something that never arrives, waiting for something that never seems to fulfill. Additionally, for some people, it feels like after a long time of waiting to see if this person would make a move or do something, perhaps they've even started to do the opposite, started to get to know someone else, started to flirt with someone else, or distance themselves, saying, well, I've thought about it and maybe it's better not to. So, what can you expect? Well, for now, if you put in your part, if you accept this distance, this pause, to heal, to see things from another perspective, not just yours. I would even suggest discussing it with someone, maybe if you've already discussed this with people, discussing it with another person, even a therapist, so they can give you a different perspective or help you see it from other angles and accept this necessary moment for healing. So, if you put in your part, you can expect things to calm down, for it to hurt less over time, for there to be less sadness as you gradually overcome and heal, especially the fact that perhaps being distant, being without communication, involves a lot of acceptance, and through acceptance, healing. Because the cards are talking to me about a lot of attachment to this person, even this person to you. But the problem is that the cards are telling me a withdrawal that's necessary because we've reached a point where the situation can't give any more. It's not bearing any more fruit. So, sometimes it's necessary to gather your things and say, okay, this hasn't worked, it's not working, let's take a break, let's go our separate ways, because there's a lot of attachment, a lot of reluctance to let go, fear because if I let go and you leave forever, what will become of me? That's something that needs to be healed and accepted. And of course, understand that nothing or no one is indispensable and that we can always move forward and have new hopes and new perspectives, focus in new directions, new people, new projects. So, I'm seeing that this isn't a definitive end, at least not for the majority. I said it at the beginning and I still see it. This is a necessary distance, or because you've had a confrontation, an argument, you've reached a breaking point. So, it's necessary to take a break, a pause. You over there, me over here, we'll rest from each other, recover, heal, understand what has happened from a distance. Also, I put myself in my place, find my inner guide, my thoughts and my illusions, what I truly want, what I truly hope for, and above all, I take charge of myself, I take charge of my life and understand that my decisions are mine and I decide what kind of life I want to live, where I want to live it, and with whom I want to live it. So, I'm telling you all this, because I see a new encounter with this person, with renewed enthusiasm, renewal of emotions, renewal of the bond. So, what does this mean? Well, probably the attachment you have may not allow you to completely let go. There's love, of course, there are emotions, but I feel that you're either leading very different lives and it's very difficult to connect or manifest the beginning of a relationship, or there's a lot of distance between you. Or one of the two people here has a lot of armor, a lot of coldness, and doesn't allow others into their life or doesn't allow emotional sharing beyond, let's say, a commitment, something serious. So, be careful with expectations because what I see is a kind of loop. We have a problem, we get angry, we distance ourselves, we feel bad for a while, we start to heal, we start to recover, when we're better, this person comes back into our lives, we regain hope and feelings. We start to think that this could go somewhere. We start to have expectations and generate expectations that are actually illusions, and what happens again? We get angry again, we distance ourselves again. So, I see something repetitive here. When we have something repetitive, what do we need to do? We need to stop and think, why? Why am I experiencing the same situation with the same person or a different person, but the same? What kind of attitude do I have in my relationships? What kind of people do I attract? What kind of people are attracted to me? How does this person always act with me? How do I always act with this person? What kind of lack do we each have that we're fulfilling? Because here attachment comes because each of us has a void, a need, and the other person fills that need. Relationships always come because we have needs. Sometimes we don't have a huge attachment, but sometimes we do. So, if I have the attachment and the need for someone to love me, to fight for an impossible love from a difficult person to obtain, that I be the person who changes them and gets them to give me what my father didn't give me at the time. It's just an example. But really, when we stop to look at how our adult relationships are, we realize the deficiencies and wounds we have from when we were children. And with this loop, I see that on both sides there's a need. We realize the deficiencies and wounds we have from when we were children. And with this loop, I see that on both sides there's a need you're filling for each other, but then there's a feeling of impossibility of being together or unfulfilled promises or someone hurting because they go with someone else or distance themselves or whatever. So, for now, you can't expect things to change. I see that you can probably continue living the same way you have been until now. So, if you want something different, you'll have to do something different, and it's in your hands. You can't expect the other person to change for things to change in your life. If you want changes in your life, I'm sorry, but you have to be the one to take the reins and start making decisions. And if you don't like this because it doesn't take you anywhere or because this person gives you false hope or makes you have expectations that are not met, then it's in your power to change things, do things differently so that the same pattern doesn't repeat itself. I know it's hard to accept that it's our responsibility. I've been in that position too, of course, and sometimes I still am, so I know it's very difficult to understand that our life is ours and our decisions are the only ones that should matter to us. And what we must understand, that it's in our power, and until we accept it, things won't start to change. Let's see what the Oracle of the Seven Energies wants to tell you. The gift of the Oracle is card 37, which becomes a 10. We're talking about the end of a cycle and a new beginning. Let's see what it wants to tell you. Well, this card is connected. Let's see with what it's connected. Well, it's connected to the energy of light, to the 6th chakra, to the 3rd eye. Let's see what it wants to tell you. Key concepts: second sight, clairvoyance, seeing the future, destiny as a future determined by decisions made in the present, detecting the